Sky Movies Screen 2.
No one would have believed in the last years of the 19th century that this world was being watched keenly and closely by intelligences greater than man's. Across the great gulf of space, intellects vast and cool and unsympathetic regarded this Earth with envious eyes and slowly and surely drew their plans against us. So began the very first tale of alien invasion, published 100 years ago in 1898. As the countdown continues to Independence Day, director Roland Emmerich tells us more.
The very first kind of science fiction novel, ever written about aliens was War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells, and that tells you something. This was the original scenario before there was anything else. And like this movie simply goes back to that and says, how would this look in the 90s?
The origins of Independence Day can also be traced back to Stargate, the previous movie from director Emmerich and producer Dean Devlin.
We were doing promotion for Stargate, and we were doing interviews with the international press. And one of the reporters asked Roland if he believed that UFOs had visited Earth. And he said no. And the woman got very upset, and she said, how can you make a movie like Stargate if you don't believe that aliens have visited? And he said, well, because I believe in fantasy. I believe in the great what if. And what if tomorrow morning we were to wake up and discover that over every major city of the world, enormous spaceships were just hovering there? Wouldn't that be just like the most exciting day in the history of mankind? Wouldn't that be one of the most monumental events ever to happen? And then right after he got finished answering the question, he walked over and he goes, I got our next movie.
I drove home and said, why is nobody doing that movie? Everybody's so fascinated with aliens. There are all these secret plots going on and like conspiracy theories. If they would come in a big way.
I found this story somehow really powerfully reminiscent of movies that I went to see when I was a kid. So I found that whole sense of the epic scale, the diversity of characters, the sense of humans and their extreme banding together to pull themselves out of it. Those are all kind of ingredients of storytelling that I hadn't seen for a while.
What turned me on about the script is that these types of films aren't made today. I mean, the big special effects films are made, but it's like a disaster film, in the classic sense. The Poseidon Adventure, the Towering Inferno.
Mr. President, the alien ships keep arriving.
When the movie starts, you don't know who's going to still be around at the end of the movie.
I think some people in Hollywood come at these movies as a way to get rich and famous so then they can go make the movie they really want to make. Well, these are the movies we really want to make.
Sir, just a little anxious to get up there and whoop some alien ass, that's all.
Yes, we fell in love with these kind of movies when we were kids. I mean, Roland was in Germany, I was in the United States, and we were both watching Steven Spielberg's first films and George Lucas's early films, and we said, that's what we want to do. We want to do that kind of event, a magical kind of picture. And now we're trying it.
I think what is most difficult about making a big special effects film is that none of the special effects are there while you're doing it. So you have to extra act. There's like, if there's supposed to be an explosion and your ship shakes, you're actually just sitting there like this, and you have to pretend that there was an explosion and your ship is shaking. And then, like yesterday we did the alien attacker, it's like you'll have to respond to a low right explosion and then a high left explosion, but then maintain dialogue while you're doing all of that. And it's like, it's just a lot more things that you have to concentrate on with nothing. You have to respond to a sound.
While digital technology and digital animation is fantastic, and there's some things you can do with that you can't do any other way, also some of the oldest techniques in Hollywood are the best. And what you saw over there is basically poor man's process. And if it's done tastefully, you'll never be able to tell the difference between that and my digital shot. We have a shot in the picture where, and I won't tell you which one, where there's an airplane flying that when we were originally budgeting it, everyone said, oh, that's a $30,000 thing because you have to get a real airplane because anything else would look crappy. And I said, give me a model and some string and a backdrop. and we shot it, and to this day, we mixed it in with the real shots of real planes and the digital shots, and so far nobody's picked it out.
Thrills, chills, spills, you'll laugh, you'll cry. You never know who's gonna die. It's wonderful. It's huge. You have no clue.